So you think you've got what it takes to survive in the medieval times? You've watched all the fantasy shows, you've played the video games, and you pretty sure you could handle a sword and maybe even charm a princess or two. Well, let's burst that bubble. I'm going to tell you exactly why you, a 21st century human, wouldn't last a single day. 24 hours in the Middle Ages. And trust me, it's not for the reasons you think. Let's start with the moment you wake up. Or rather, the moment you're jolted awake. Forget your gentle alarm tone. Your new alarm is a rooster crowing at the crack of dawn. The sound of church bells clanging, or maybe the town crier shouting about a new tax. You roll out of bed, which isn't a bed. It's a straw mattress on the floor, probably crawling with fleas and other critters you'd rather not meet. The room is cold, damp, and smells faintly of smoke and something you can't quite identify. Is that unwashed human? Probably time for breakfast. You stumble into the main room, expecting to toast some bread or pour a bowl of cereal. Nope, the fire in the hearth is your only source of heat and your only way to cook. If you're lucky, here's some coarse, gritty bread that feels like you're chewing on sand, and maybe some pottage, a watery stew of whatever vegetables were available, boiled for hours, and forget coffee or tea. Your drink of choice is ale. Yes, even for breakfast. It was often safer than the water. Speaking of which, let's talk about water. You turn on a tap, right? Wrong. You'd have to haul your water from a communal well or a nearby river, and that water is questionable at best. It's the same water source people wash their clothes in, where animals drink from, and where all the town's waste eventually ends up. A single sip of unboiled water could introduce you to a whole new world of bacteria your modern immune system has never encountered. Dysentery, cholera, typhoid. Diseases we barely think about today were a daily threat. You'd be lucky to make it to lunch without a severe stomach ache. Okay, so you've survived the morning. Time to go about your day. But first, you need to get dressed. Forget your comfy jeans and t-shirt. You'll be wearing rough, scratchy wool or linen. And depending on your social status, it's probably the only outfit you own. You wear it every day, wash it rarely, and sleep in it too. It's itchy, it's smelly, and it offers terrible protection against the elements. And ladies, forget about practical clothing. Get ready for heavy, layered dresses that make it impossible to move quickly. Now let's step outside. The first thing that hits you isn't the fresh country air, it's the smell. An overwhelming, eye-watering stench. There's no sanitation system, no garbage collection. People just threw their trash, including food scraps and human waste, directly into the streets. The ground is a muddy, disgusting mess of filth, animal droppings, and whatever else has been discarded. You'd need to watch every single step to avoid stepping in something truly awful. The picturesque medieval village you see in movies? Pure fiction. It was a minefield of muck. Let's talk about your job. You don't get to choose a career path. Your life is predetermined by your birth. If your father was a blacksmith, you're a blacksmith. If he was a farmer, you're a farmer. And farming wasn't a peaceful, pastoral life. It was back-breaking labor from sunup to sundown, using rudimentary tools. One bad harvest meant starvation for your entire family. There's no safety net, no government assistance. What if you get sick or injured? A simple cut could be a death sentence. Without antiseptics, any open wound is an invitation for infection. Gangrene was common. If you broke a bone, a surgeon, who was often also the town barber, would try to set it. But the chances of it healing properly were slim. And if you had a toothache, the solution was to pull the tooth out. With no anesthetic. Just a pair of rusty pliers and a strong arm. Common illnesses like the flu were incredibly deadly. Your modern medicine cabinet, with its painkillers and antibiotics, would seem like a chest of magical potions. Let's say you manage to avoid disease and injury. How do you communicate? You might think speaking English is enough, but you'd be wrong. The English of the Middle Ages is practically a foreign language to us. Words, grammar, and pronunciation were all completely different. You'd sound like a babbling fool. People would be suspicious of you. And in a time of superstition and fear of the unknown, being an outsider who speaks gibberish is a very dangerous thing. You could easily be accused of being a spy, a heretic, or worse, a witch. And that brings us to the social rules. You can't just say what you want. Freedom of speech is not a thing. Questioning the church or the local lord could get you imprisoned, tortured, or executed. There are strict social hierarchies you must obey. You must show deference to your superiors, and one wrong word or glance could be seen as an insult, leading to a duel or a public flogging. Your modern sense of individualism and equality would get you into serious trouble fast. As evening approaches, the world gets dark. And I mean really dark. There are no streetlights. The only light comes from a few candles or a flickering fire. The streets become incredibly dangerous, home to thieves and other criminals. Most people would lock themselves in their homes as soon as the sun went down. You'd be left in a tiny, smoky hut with nothing to do. No internet, no TV, no books unless you were incredibly wealthy and literate. The boredom alone would be crushing. Finally, let's consider violence. Life was cheap. Brawls were common, and disputes were often settled with fists or knives. You could be robbed on any road. If a war broke out, the local lord could conscript you into an army, hand you a spear, and march you off to a battle where your chances of survival were minimal. You're not the hero of the story. You're just another peasant, completely expendable. So, could you last 24 hours? Let's recap. You'd wake up cold and itchy. You'd eat gritty, unappetizing food and drink ale for breakfast. A single sip of water could make you violently ill. You'd walk through streets filled with filth. You'd work a back-breaking job you didn't choose. A small cut could kill you. You couldn't speak the language, and people would see you as a dangerous outsider. As night falls, you're plunged into total darkness and boredom, with the constant threat of violence just outside your door. So the next time you're daydreaming about being a knight in shining armor, remember the reality. The medieval period was a brutal, unforgiving world. We are incredibly fortunate to live with the comforts and safety we have today. Things like clean water, medicine, and sanitation are miracles they couldn't have even imagined. So be thankful for your boring 21st century life, because in the Middle Ages, you wouldn't have even made it to dinner. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this little trip back in time, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. See you next time.